Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back. Hector Castillo, Girl Chase Videos. Today, we're going to be discussing how magical fundamentals can be, because they're pretty much everything. I have an article coming out in the not so near future about how fundamentals are pretty much everything. A lot of focus on game in this community is on, well, game, right? So game is your ability to verbalize a woman into what you want, right? It comes from pimping, where you game someone, you game, the whore games a trick and gets them to pay money to fuck her, or to take care of her in general. The pimp games the woman, the whore, into being a trick as well. Iceberg Slim talks about a whore is really just a trick who gets tricked by the pimp, and the pimp can game her. He sells her the dream, right? I'll take care of you, honey. You'll make money. I'll be your daddy. All that shit, right? Game is talking your way into what you want. You can game guys and get them to do things for you, but generally in this community, it's basically gaming your own to bed. So it's your ability to verbalize a path to your bedroom. My thesis is that game is nothing more than the expression of fundamentals. Now, what are fundamentals? Or, as I like to call them, the fundies. Fundies are everything that is nonverbal and verbal, in the sense that it's the technicalities of your voice, right? So your fundamentals are, there's passive fundamentals like your skin, your looks, what you're born with, your hair, your clothes, shaping your eyebrows, anything like that. And then active fundamentals are, your mannerisms, right? Your body language, your hand gestures, your facial expressions, your eye contact, your smile, the tone of your voice, the rhythm of your voice, the cadence, the volume, the intonation of your voice, the way you walk, silence, how you use pauses. Those are fundamentals. Those are the things that make your speech interesting. Now, this is related to small talk, because small talk it can be magical. Okay. The focus on a lot of the Girl Chase material, and maybe some other schools of thought, but I don't really see anyone get into it too bad, is deep diving. And a big part of sleeping with a woman quickly is to make her feel connected to you. Now, there is obviously the lust side of it, but a big part of keeping a girl from, she might be attracted to you sexually, but not want to fuck you because she'll feel like a slut an hour into meeting you, is called deep diving. And what that's doing is you elicit some of her deeper values. You get her to tell you something she's never told anyone before. Talk about her dreams, her tragedies, her passions, her problems, but in like a deep, like, confiding kind of way. And what that does is it makes her feel connected to you. Now, a woman doesn't sleep with you based on a certain amount of dates or time or anything like that. It's how connected she feels to you. But it just so happens that most men suck at fucking dating, so that women set, like, okay, I don't sleep with a guy on the first date because that represents me being a slut. And it's a good strategy by women to get men to invest more before she sleeps with them. But obviously our goal as men is to sleep with the girl as soon as possible. And the way you do that is you make her feel connected. And a woman bases her connection on how much she feels like you understand her. She could barely fucking know your name, but if she feels like she's pouring her heart out to you and you get her, she's yours. Okay? And it's not a manipulative thing, it's a beautiful thing for a woman to feel understood and to be sexually attracted. That's what women look for. They want a man who knows their soul and their body. And so deep diving is our term for how you get her to pour her soul out. But a problem with that a lot of newer guys face, guys who don't have a lot of experience with socializing in general, right? People who are socialized, they have friends, they go out and they go to parties, and they're just not great with women. They understand small talk, right? But even then, most people suck at it. People see small talk as just a segue into real talk, having deep conversations. But deep conversations are just a segue or a bridge into feeling connected with someone. So you could say anything as a bridge. It doesn't devalue what it is. And small talk it's like the beginning of a dance. It's like you're just feeling each other out. You see each other across the dance floor, and you kind of work your way towards each other, and you kind of dance around each other, and it's that fun dancing for the dance. So small talk doesn't have to be boring. In fact, I find it fascinating. I find bare, bland conversations to reveal everything about someone. Okay, and going back to fundamentals, is that small talk is made magical. It's transformed into a dance when you have good fundamentals, because it makes it interesting, right? So I can get passionate about these things that I'm talking about, and you're going to see my personality flow through my words and my hand gestures and my facial expressions, because I love talking about this. So you're going to get the full extent of my passion, full onslaught of my love for philosophy, for women, through these conversations. But you can get all of this in, I guess, a smaller degree, but just as nuanced in, if I approach a girl on the street, for instance. Hey, I was walking over there, and I saw you standing here, and I thought you were just gorgeous, and I had to come say hi. Okay? Starting, shake her hand, or hold her hand. You don't really want to shake it like a business. Can't shake. So, what are you up to? Right? What's the difference between, so what are you up to? And, so how are you doing? What are you doing today? Right? So, kind of a draw, kind of a pause. What are you up to? Uptone, intonation. I treat my voice like it's an instrument. I'm always thinking, how do I make this word better? And how do I transition into this word? And how do I end the sentence? And it's an art, because you have to figure, you don't know what you're going to say really until you say it. You can get a few sentences, right? If you fuck up like that, make it funny. Like I just said, right? And now I'm being cocky because I'm like, oh, I'm funny because I know how to recover from a verbal mistake, but I don't give a fuck. I'm good, right? You're going to have to figure it out as you go along. You may know the whole song, right? But you don't know how it sounds until it comes out. You can be 99% certain that you know what you're going to say, but you don't know how. You may be halfway through your sentence and like, this sounds weird. Like I need to switch it up. You stop a sentence. You switch it up. You add a digression. That's what I do a lot. You play with your voice and you play with the fundamentals of your communication to make things interesting. And so going back to small talk, right? You're just saying like, hey, how are you? What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? That's all small talk, right? It's the basic normal interrogation of the beginning of a conversation. Or with the best friend, right? What's up, buddy? How are you, man? Right? That sounds so much better than, hey, man, how are you? Right? Some guy that you barely know, you're like, hey, man, how are you doing? But if you see your best friend, you're like, what up, bro? How are you? What's up? Right? That's how you treat your best friend. That makes them feel like they're right here. You can do that with everybody. Okay? You meet a girl, she introduces you to someone, her best friend. Be like, oh my God, this is my best friend. You'd be like, hey, how are you, sweetie? How you doing? Right? Instantly, your fundamentals do it for you. And your fundamentals is the first thing people are going to see. So getting good and injecting your small talk, your initial conversation with magic of your fundamentals. The fundamentals are the magic. I don't know if I've made that abundantly clear, but everything about what you do and say, how you do it, that makes the most bare, boring conversations interesting. You know, you meet someone and they just give you really good eye contact, like, how are you? How are you? You have the dip and then the intonation. That's like, they're putting effort into their words. It's entrancing. It's enchanting. It coaxes you into a spell, and you want to be taken into it, right? You want to talk to someone who's interesting and has you pouring your heart out, you know? But to get there, to want to feel like you want to pour your heart out, that's easier when the person is magical with their small talk. Now, the trick is obviously, like, I know people who are very charismatic with like the most basic of conversations, but they can't actually hold a good conversation. So you have to be good at both. You have to be good at being charismatic with your bullshit, right? But then you also have to be able to have a substantive conversation, right? Because small talk is just jumping from topic to topic and expanding on it enough to get them interested, and then finding a certain thread of conversation where, like, oh, we hit critical mass, let's go even deep, we gotta go even deeper into the deep dive, right? So you just kind of like dance around with subjects, where are you from, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's not that interesting. Oh, that's cool, right? You acknowledge that it's cool, but then you cut the thread. Oh, that's cool. So, what do you do in town, right? Let's try another thread, small talk. I work as a social worker. Ooh, right? There's a possible, I hear that, I'd be like, oh, I'm sure there's an interesting story behind that, because social workers don't just do it for the fuck of it, because it's a very hard job. You deal with people who have a lot of problems. I had a counselor in my high school who was like life-changing for me. Like, so I find your job just amazing. This girl's going to be like, right? She's going to feel so connected to you, or she's a nurse, oh, you're a nurse. Oh, that's cool. But again, I bet there's a big story behind that. That's just like a can line you can use. But, like, why did you can just be genuine with it. Just be like, so why did you get into it? Was there something that happened in your life that made you want to, like, really take care of people? Oh my God, that's magical conversation, right? That's the small talk into the deep dive. So small talk is a segue into deep diving, but it is its own thing. Okay? It's like poking, it's like jabbing in a lovely way. Like, all right, let's see. Let's have some fun. Let's see how this conversation's going. So, small talk is, I could go over the nature of small talk right now, and I had to do that recently for a client. He asked me, he's like, I'm just bad at small talk. And I was like, how do I even define small talk? By deep diving, like, oh yeah, it's these grand values of what I want to do and what's my passion and all this shit. It's like small talk. It's like, some people kind of treat it as a thing you just have to get out of the way. And I'm like, no, I think it's fine. It's fun, Your best friend, you can have small talk. Just be like, oh, what'd you do this week? Oh, I did this. Oh, that's dope, man. That's awesome. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can be just as connected with people over small talk. In fact, like, casual, fun small talk with someone is a sign of familiarity, and you want a woman to feel familiar with you. That's what's going to help her open up sexually. She's going to feel comfortable with you, and then she's going to be like, okay, I feel like I've known this guy for like years. We're having small talk like best friends, but he's also hot, so like, damn, like, I wonder what his dick tastes like, right? She's gonna be thinking all these things. So, master small talk. How do you master it? Well, it's not that hard. If you have basic social skills, you know how to small talk, and you'll learn the complexities of like tying in. I'm always thinking like, how do I tie in deep diving with small talk? How do I shift this conversation to something deeper and then bring it back? Because you don't always want to be deep diving too much either, because then it becomes way too serious of a conversation. But even more importantly than the technical or the verbal technical aspects, I'm always thinking, how do I make the things that I'm saying interesting? How are you? How are you? How's it going? There's so many different tones and messages and personalities, If you're kind of a more stoic guy, be like, how's it going? Right? But you have that fucking intense eye contact. So even though your voice isn't really saying much, your eyes are saying a lot. Eyes are saying a lot. English is hard. Let's see. Hey. Everything is with a hey. Hey, 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 how you doing? Right? You can fucking pull a Joey. There's so many different. It's like you can do one song. You can play Beethoven like 10 different ways if you wanted to. Okay, just depends on your personality. You can drag that note or you can rush it. It's up to you. So play with your fundamentals, and if you want to use this as a homework assignment, you do it with small talk. Next time you're just having a normal conversation with someone, pay attention to your body language, right? Treat it like a dance, right? At first it'll be kind of weird because you're like, what do I do with my hands, right? Sometimes you don't have to do anything. Sometimes just being calm and still is a sign of power and masculinity. But if you want to add some eccentricity to it, you know, like just watch my videos. Like I'm a very eccentric, weird dude, you know, and I've taken my time to really think about the way that I come off. You know, some parts are purposefully not like super ultra masculine, and some parts are. You know, my language is very like rough and brutal, but I also try to make it poetic. You know, so just play with it. It's a song. Okay, fundies. Fundies are important. Fundies are everything. Small talk is a good words. Playground, a little sandbox, and then you work your way out into like really complicated shit, like making your deep diving like very magical. You know, like just fucking sucker in. You know. So okay, fundies. Practice them with small talk, and let me know how it goes. At Girls Chase, at What She Really Meant, Instagram pages, follow them. Subscribe to this channel because I make the videos all the time. If you want one-on-one coaching, I'll put a link on there. I do hour coaching. I do 12-week coaching where we just totally revamp your game. And I have articles on the website, girlschase.com, Hector Castillo. And go practice your fundies. Ciao.